should keep this particular place in your mind. Okay. So why this is in news? An international means between two nations, high-speed passenger ferry service between Nagapattinam on the eastern coast of Tamil Nadu and the Kankesanturai in the northern province of Sri Lanka has resumed. Now they are writing that it has been resumed. It means it was already in service, but it was on halt due to some reasons. So now this service has been resumed. The service has been resumed. So places in news, you must keep in mind this particular place. Nagapattinam, you know, is the coastal city in India. Okay. So between India and Sri Lanka, the ferry service has been started again, and this is a high-speed passenger ferry service. Okay. So what is the background? Background is the initiative is a revival of the maritime connection that traces back to the early 1900s. So the point is that you know that India and Sri Lanka have the cultural ties and the maritime connections are always there. Okay. So it was kind of revival because previously in the 1900s we already had the ferry services between these two countries in the specifically in the colonial time also. We have seen that so many laborers Tamil from the Tamil Nadu has been shifted to the Sri Lanka for the plantation and some other agriculture purposes. So many Tamilians still live in the Sri Lanka, and the local people of the Sri Lanka or the indigenous people of Sri Lanka are called as the Sinhalese. So the Tamil people are usually considered as outsiders in the Sri Lanka. So there was also civil war between the indigenous people Sinhalese and the outsiders. They consider them outsiders because they were brought to the island by the colonial powers. Okay, so there was a Tamil versus Sinhalese, and also the angle of LTTE, which you might have explored in the post-independence history in the Rajiv Gandhi era. Okay, so that's the altogether different thing. Let's focus on this particular topic. So it is kind of revival of the maritime connection. Let's try to break for the prelims point of view because prelims is approaching. So revival. Now the Indo-Ceylon Express. Ceylon is the anglicized version of the Sri Lanka. The Ceylon is the thing. So Indo-Ceylon Express or the board mail, which is operated between Chennai and Colombo via the Thoothukudi port, was halted in 1982 due to the civil war in Sri Lanka. The civil war in Sri Lanka is about, again, the Tamil versus Sinhalese, because Sinhalese were considering themselves as the indigenous people, and the Tamilians were considered outside. So there was continuous, ruckus between both these communities, and it was a big challenge for the Sri Lankan government also. So it's a kind of thing that civil war in Sri Lanka started in 1982, and that's why the ferry services has been on halt, because so many Tamilians were going to Sri Lanka. Those Tamilians who were living in Sri Lanka were coming to India. So the Tamil connection was there. And because of this civil war, this particular, the India-Ceylon Express, which was a ferry service which was started in the early 1900s, were, halted. Okay. Now, in the 2011, both the countries, India and Sri Lanka, signed an MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, that we will start this ferry service again. Okay. And ultimately, this is culminated into now that both countries are starting this ferry service. So it was the MOU which was signed in the 2011. Okay, sir. Now the current developments is the high-speed ferry is operated by the Shipping Corporation of India and has a capacity of 150 passengers. Okay, the capacity and these aspects are not important. The important thing is what is Shipping Corporation of India. Earlier we also discussed about it. The detail I have put here. The Shipping Corporation of India is a public sector undertaking. Now this is a PSU. This is a PSU, Shipping Corporation of India, that operates and manages the vessels servicing both national and the international lines. So national and the international lines, vessel services on these both routes is managed by the Shipping Corporation of India. It is under the ownership of the Government of India because it is a PSU, and under the administrative control of the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and the Waterways. As usual, it is its domain only, with its headquarters in Mumbai, not very important. The SCS was established on 2nd October 1961. You can keep this in mind. Sometimes they ask these kind of things in the statement-based questions. By the amalgamation of the Eastern Shipping Corporation and the Western Shipping Corporation. So these two, Eastern and Western Shipping Corporation, were amalgamated into the Shipping Corporation of India in the 1961. There were two other bodies. They were also amalgamated with the Shipping Corporation of India. Okay. So this is your Shipping Corporation of India. You keep this in mind. It is a public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Shipping. Okay. Capacity not very important. The distance of about 60 nautical miles, 110 kilometers between Nagapattinam and the Kanke-Santurai will be covered in approximately 3.5 hours. Now the nautical mile, we discussed about it. What is a nautical mile? Nautical mile, I put some additional detail here. So nautical mile is a unit of length used in the air, marine and the space navigation. Okay, so when it is a kind of 3D, it is a kind of three-dimensional and it is not easy to measure the length more appropriately. In that case, what they do, they use the nautical mile. So what is nautical mile? It is a unit of length used in the air, marine and the space navigation. And usually it is used for the territorial waters, the definition of territorial waters. Historically, it was defined as a meridian arc length corresponding to 1 minute degree of the latitude at the equator. Now, just look at the cursor. This is the Earth. This is Earth, for example. Okay. Now, in this Earth, we know that this is the center of the Earth. Now, from the center of the Earth, we know that equator is passing from the, equator is dividing the Earth into two parts, northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Now, at equator, we know that if we go upward from the equator to the pole, we know that every angle it covers from the 0 degree to the 90 degree. These are the latitudes. These are the latitudes, different latitudes. So the lowest latitude is 0 degree, we can say, at the equator, and the highest is the 90 degree at the pole. So 0 to 90 degree equator we are aware of. Now this 0 to 90 degree is ultimately 90 degree it is covering, 90 degree. Okay. Now this 90 degree is further divided into a single degree. A single 1 degree is further divided into 60 minutes. So 1 degree is equivalent to the 60 minutes. 1 degree is equivalent to the 60 minutes. Okay. And further that 1 minute will be divided into 60 seconds. So if we narrow down, we can say, if we narrow down in terms of degree, so below the degree we have minutes. So angle is further measured in the minute. And further we will more narrow down, we can go to second. Okay. So if we go at the minuscule scale, we can say an angle can be written as a 14 degree, 32 minutes and the 16 seconds. Okay. So this can be the representation of the angle. So 1 degree is divided into 60 minutes. 60 minutes are further, 1 minute is further divided into 60 seconds. Okay, sir. We can further narrow down, but this is the thing which we need to understand for as of now. Okay. So what is the 1 nautical mile? Now 1 nautical mile is nothing but it is a kind of, if this is the circle and center and 1 degree, just take the out of these 90, just take single degree, 1 degree. Okay, we will make 2 lines which will spread and this will be 1 degree. Okay. Now this 1 degree will have an arc here. Definitely have an arc here on the circumference kind of. This arc, the distance of this arc will be considered as and this is the 1 minute. Means 1 degree further divided into 60 parts. 1 degree divided into 60 parts, the 1 minute. Now the 1 minute at the center of the earth will make an arc on the circumference of the earth. That distance will be considered as a 1 nautical mile. Okay, sir. That distance will be considered as a 1 nautical mile. Right now, I don't have a pen tab, so you need to understand it here only. Try to visualize as much as possible. Okay. So that will be 1 nautical mile. Am I audible now, everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Okay, so that's the 1 nautical mile. Okay, sir. So a degree of latitude of such that Earth's polar circumference is very near to 21,600 nautical miles. That's okay. 60 minutes into 360 degree. And 1 nautical mile is equal to 1852 meters. So it is nearly 1.852 kilometers, 1 nautical mile. Okay, sir. So the 1 minute arc at the center of the Earth is making a particular distance. That distance of that arc is considered as the 1 nautical mile. Okay, sir. So it is going to cover 60 nautical mile, means nearly 110 kilometers. Okay. The vessel to be used as a ferry is called Cheriapani. Although these kind of things they don't ask, but still you can keep this in mind. You cannot trust. You can go with the UPSC. The Cheriapani. You can say the recently in the news the Cheriapani considered as. They will give you 4 options. Okay, these kind of questions are very difficult because it's based on whether if you know it, you know it. If you don't know, you don't know. So never go with the tukkabazi with these kind of questions. If you know it, you know it. Okay. So the enhanced connectivity with neighbors, wider Indian Ocean regions. Okay, the government is working on this. The connectivity in the Indian Ocean region. The Nagapattinam port is one of the non-major port under the maintenance of the Tamil Nadu Maritime Board. Nagapattinam is under the maintenance of the Tamil Nadu Maritime Board. India have major ports and non-major ports, and this is a non-major port. Okay, it is located on the shores of Bay of Bengal at the estuary of the Kaduvayar River. So Kaduvayar River is a small river which flows in Tamil Nadu and the Pondicherry region. Okay, Kaduvayar River. So, and this particular river is very important from the historical point of view. Okay, sir. This particular river is important from the historical point of view. You know, in the ancient time, there was Chola Empire in the southern region. So, the Chola Empire had so many great kings. One of the great kings was Raja Raja, and the son of Raja Raja was Rajendra. And the Chola dynasty or the Chola Empire have a very good maritime connection with the southeastern countries. For example, with with the Indonesia, Malaysia, the Southeast Asian countries, they have very good relation. Even with the China, they have. Okay, sir. So some detail of the maritime connection or maritime trade of the Chola Empire is particularly important for us from the prelims point of view. So you can separately read out on it, Chola Empire, Chola dynasty, and their marine might you can study. Okay, sir. So the Kaduvayar River flows in the Tamil Nadu and the Pondicherry, sir. The additional detail I have put here, the Nagapattinam was the Chola's main port. Okay, so the Nagapattinam port was the main port of the Cholas. From where they sailed on expedition, they would have also used the river Kaduvayar. This Kaduvayar river was also used by the Cholas. Okay, so historically these two things, this port and this river is very important. Now other things is seamen during the Chola period dependent on the stellar navigation. Definitely what they used, because at that time the technology was not at that par which we have today. So what they used the stellar navigation. The navigation they used to take from the stellar. They used their fingers and they measured the azimuth angle of the X angle to exactly locate their position. So what they do, they use their fingers to exactly locate where they are. They called it the Viral Kanakku. Now Viral Kanakku is the thing can be asked in the prelims. The Viral Kanakku is a kind of how they were navigating at that point. We cannot certainly predict that this thing can be asked. But yes, this is the relevant. These kind of things UPSC do ask. So the Viral Kanakku is the kind of navigation they used at that time. The Cholas made ships using wood. Now this is very important. Cholas made ships using wood rather than iron. So at that time they were using wood, and the different kind of timber they used, the variety of timber, almost 6 to 7 type of timber they used for the making, the ship making. But the iron was not used by them. Okay, even for the long ocean sailing ships, they were going to almost to 5,000 to 3,000 kilometers, and they were not using the iron for the ship making. This is very important point. Okay, and then they use variety of timber. Okay. Now, the Chola ruler Rajendran, the son of Raja Raja, had a trade representative as Chinese court. Now, this is very important. The Rajendra is very important figure is for the Cholas, and he was the person who was responsible for a very effective maritime trade to the all the Southeast Asian countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, and also with the other countries like the China. He had a trade representative at the Chinese court, which is a big thing. Okay, so Rajendra was a very key person. Rajendra I transformed the Cholas into a major sea power in the Southeast Asia by building a large fleet of ships. This thing can be asked. Okay, sir. So specifically, I would suggest that you must read about the Cholas, and on the other hand, this additional information which I have put here, you must read it. Okay, sir. So he was the person. The Rajendra I is the same Rajendra, which is this Rajendra. So Raja Rajas, he was son of Raja Raja, and transformed the Cholas into a major sea power in the Southeast Asia by building a large fleet of ships. Ships mainly carrying cargo were big enough to carry elephants, horses, and big cohort of soldiers. This is very important. Means they were making ships from not from the iron but from the wood. But still, they were kind of proficient enough so that that particular ship can carry even the elephants, horses, and the big cohort of soldiers. It means they can carry with the very huge weight. Okay, sir. So the Kuduvaya River, you can check in the map. There is the Kuduvaya River. It flows in the Pondicherry and the Tamil Nadu. Okay, sir. So the Chola dynasty is particularly important. You can read about the maritime might of the Chola dynasty. Okay. So India will provide an efficient and cost-effective means to travel for the people of two countries, boost tourism and trade links. Now this is very important. We have cultural linkages, although culturally we also have the root cause of the problem because Tamil Sinhalese problem. But still, the cultural connect between these two countries is very important. Okay. And the mythological connect is also there. Will provide an efficient and cost-effective means to travel for the people of two countries. Now, it will be cost-effective, definitely. The ferry services are cost-effective. So, it will give them cost-effective means for traveling. Boost tourism, definitely, especially for the coastal regions. The trade links will strengthen. Enhance economic activity around the two ports. Definitely, if you are connecting two ports, if you are connecting two port cities, now definitely the economic activities around these port cities will definitely enhance, invigorate the local economies. Okay, help strengthen cultural, commercial, and the civilization type. There's no doubt about it. These are the usual and obvious things. Cooperation in disaster management, maritime security. That's okay. So this is the article in which we can have some of the things which you must read for the prelims point of view. Okay, sir. Now, what is the next article? Next article is India's bid for the 2036 Olympics. So we know that recently the Prime Minister Modi confirmed that India is showing interest in hosting the 2036 Olympic Games. Okay, so India never hosted any Olympic Games till now, and on the other hand, India hosted the Asian Games and also the Commonwealth Games. These are the two games, multinational games. But Olympic is altogether a different at some different level. So hosting an Olympic will definitely increases the prestige of the country and its geopolitically also it act as a pushing factor. So the Prime Minister Modi recently confirmed that India's formal bid to host the 2036 Olympic Games. Now, in this article, we must understand what is the procedure, what are the basic things on what are the Olympic related administration, which is the body which is administering the Olympic Games. Okay. So now, Mr. Modi said, we will bid for the Olympic Games. Now, raising question about the financial implication and the benefits of hosting this prestigious event. So if a country, a developing country like India, although India is the fastest growing, major economy, but still there are some problems, some structural problems in India, and like, for example, the poverty, unemployment, and other things. So the financial implication of hosting Olympics are always taken into consideration if you are bidding for the hosting the Olympic Games. And benefit for the hosting. Now, what will be the benefits? So everybody because this thing is now in public domain because our Prime Minister said it. So this is a public domain, and all the expert intelligentsia and the think tanks are talking about it. What could be the financial implication along with what are the benefits? So the coming into the creating a win-win situation would be possible or not, all these things. Okay. So India would bid to host the 2036 Olympics. The Prime Minister Modi made the announcement during the inauguration of the 141st International Olympic Committee session at the GEO World Center in the Mumbai. Now, this is the thing, International Olympic Committee. So the session of International Olympic Committee, IOC, was recently held in this was 141 first, and it held in the Mumbai GEO Center. Now, what is the IOC, International Olympic Committee? IOC is a non-governmental sports organization based in the Lausanne, that is in the Switzerland. So it is based in the Switzerland, this IOC, and founded in 1894. It is the authority responsible for organizing the modern summer, winter, and the youth Olympic Games. So this is the body responsible for conducting all three. Like we have a summer Olympic, which is the biggest, the winter and the youth Olympic Games. So this is the body which is founded in the 1894, and it's a non-governmental body. Okay, sir. So IOC is the governing body of the National Olympic Committees. So every country have their own National Olympic Committee. Okay, sir. And the Worldwide Olympic Movement. Okay. So all the National Olympic Committees will be governed by or regulated by the International Olympic Committee, sir. Okay. So this is the thing. Now, the 86th session was held in the New Delhi in 1983. So recently we hosted 141st, and 86th session was also held in New Delhi in the 1980. It means it was not the first time that India hosted the IOC session. Okay. So as per the selection policy, IOC first get into informal dialogue. Now, how they select the country for the hosting of the Olympics? Now, initially they have the informal dialogue with the interested host countries. Informal dialogue. It's just a general talk that if you are taking interest and all these things. It's kind of informal talk, not on a paper. If the world body is satisfied with the planning and capability of the candidate, now definitely the interested country will come up with the plan and some kind of synopsis that we can do this. These are the things. These are the aspects that we are capable of doing this. So the preliminary informal dialogue. After the informal dialogue, the IOC will decide if it is satisfied with the planning and the capability of the candidate. Then it enters a targeted dialogue. So now they are entering into the formal dialogue when the IOC's execution board invites the preferred host to refine and present their proposal. Now they have the full proposal. It's a kind of targeted dialogue. There's no fixed time frame for electing the host. Koi time frame nahi hai. There's no time frame that in this particular time frame you have to decide. So initially there is an informal dialogue, then the targeted dialogue. In the targeted dialogue, the country come up with the detailed presentation that we will do this, and these are the aspects, the financial, all the aspects, all the financial implication, the environmental, they also consider all these things. They come up with this. Now, selecting the Olympics host country, the International Olympics Committee decision. Now the International Olympic Committee decides with a secret ballot and the majority vote. Okay, sir. So with the secret ballot and the majority vote, they decide that which country is going to host the next Olympic. Competition and the diplomacy. So winners are announced 7-8 years before the events. Okay, sir. Because they need to generate and create the infrastructure suitable for the Olympic Games. So they have to invest a lot. It's a long gestation period. We can say this is a kind of gestation period because 7 to 8 years before the winner's name is announced. Now the country know that after 7 to 8 years we are going to host it. So they do all the changes, the legal changes. They also do some kind of the infrastructure is always a big challenge for the countries. Okay. Now the cost of hosting the Olympics, expensive endeavor. No doubt it is an expensive endeavor because athletes from all countries, there are multiplicity of games. You have to there is a possibility that the game which are included in the list of Olympics are, you have no culture of those games in your country. You don't have the courts or some other infrastructure facility to, play those particular games. So you have to create them if you are going to host the Olympics. So in order to create them, you need a huge amount of money. So it is a costly endeavor, no doubt. And the majority of fund for, creating infrastructure is, is ultimately is a burden on the hosting country. The hosting country have to finance all the projects because infrastructure is created in their own country. Okay, sir. But yeah, a little amount is given by the International Olympic Committee. Okay. So examples of expenditure, there are countries that previously spend a lot of money. Okay, no, not important. Infrastructure investment you have to do. Now the funding the Olympics expenses, local government responsibility. I just said it that local government, the majority of expenses, especially on the infrastructure, are shouldered by the local government and are spread across the country's budget. So the budgetary aspect will definitely impacted by the expenditure. Borrowing for the cost overrun. There are so many countries in the past. They, they lacked funds. That's why they borrow money from the multinational institution, multilateral banks. Okay. Benefit of hosting. What are the potential benefits? Hosting the Olympics elevates the country's global status, promotes it as an investment and tourist destination. This is very important. This is very important because this is the benefit. Benefit you might not get immediately, but yeah, in the long run, you will have definitely some benefits. So your global status will improve. On the other, and this improving in the global status might be at the prima facie, you will look at this as a kind of intangible benefit, but the tangible benefit will flow from this particular thing. The ripple effect of elevating the country's global status will have impact on the other geostrategic, geopolitical aspects. Okay, so these are the things. And the investment, definitely the investment, because especially the developing countries always anticipate investment from the developed countries. That's why the benefit of hosting could be, the country might emerge as and the investment destination and the tourism, no doubt tourism. Okay, sir. So these are the prospect. Caution on overspending. Previously, we have seen that the countries which have hosted the Olympic Games faced some serious crisis because they spend so much money, and the spending of money, it means the majority part was the budgetary allocation, and their fiscal deficit raised, and they shooted very high. So they faced the debt crisis and all these things, especially the case of Canada and the Athens 2004 Athens Olympics, the Greece case. These two countries face problems. Even the Brazilian government faced the problem. So there are positive prospects, but yeah, you have to be very cautious while spending money. You have to look into your domestic, issues. You should not, the expenditure should not shoot very high that the domestic crisis or the debt crisis occur. Positive outcome. Definitely the Beijing was considered as a positive outcome because it led to the nearly 1% growth in their GDP. Okay. Now, what is India's prospect? But why India is bidding for it? The favorable timing. India's bid aligned well with its status as the world's most populous. Definitely, we are most populous country and the fastest growing major economy. These are the two things. India is not fastest growing economy in the world. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world. Keep this in mind. Okay. These are two different things. These kind of, manipulation of the words UPSC do. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world. India is not the fastest growing economy in the world. Okay. Major economies, India is the fastest growing. India's bid align well with its status as the world's most populous. Okay. India is the most populous country. Every 6th person is Indian. Okay. India is a democratic country as well. So although India's performance in the Olympics is not, very appealing till now, because India hardly won any gold medals. Okay. So the thing is that India's performance and your performance in the Olympics is also one of the criteria which the International Olympic Association, IOC, International Olympic Committee consider, IOC consider your performance in the previous Olympics. Your history of the Olympic medal tally is also important. Okay, sir. So that's the thing. But still, India is, expecting and that we can host it because we are most populous, the fastest growing major economy along with the major democracy of the world. Past experiences. India previously hosted the 1982 Asian Games, 2010 Commonwealth Games India hosted. Although in this games we had a scam, but that's okay. That deteriorated the image of India. We had a scheme in the Commonwealth Games, but still we hosted these two games previously. So India is looking forward to host the Olympics. Gujarat's bit, the Ahmedabad is becoming a tech-friendly and a very well-equipped infrastructure in terms of infrastructure. So Gujarat is contemplating bidding for the Commonwealth Games. So Gujarat is thinking of thinking of hosting 2026 Commonwealth Games, which could further demonstrate India's hosting capability. Okay, if India would host the Commonwealth Games in 2026, then definitely the prospect or the things might come in favor of India. Economic power, that's okay, we know it. So these are the things. Although although the negative aspects we should also consider, these all things, the over spending and these things, this could be the concern for India also, because India is also a developing country, and the fiscal deficit and all the things we must take into consideration before going for the bid for the Olympic. Okay, sir. Okay. So these are the two articles. Now, what is the third thing? Third thing is India's role in the Middle East crisis. We know that Middle East is facing trouble, sir. The Arab-Israel conflict. We discussed it. So the Arab-Israel conflict and India is continually looking towards the Middle East, because for last decade, like since 2014, you can say, specifically after the Mr. Modi came into power. So in these two tenures, India's relationship with the Middle East, like countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, okay, with Oman. So with these countries, India's relationship have been increased, even with the Egypt also. So India is continuously taking interest in the Middle East because that is ultimately in the India's interest. So what is India's role in the Middle East crisis? We must focus. Now, the Middle East crisis is the Arab-Israel conflict. And we know that Israel is continuously supported by the Western countries, specifically United States of America, and the Palestine is supported by the Arab countries. Although we have seen in the recent times that the opinion or the way the Middle Eastern countries, for example, Saudi Arabia and other, they have changed their stance, or you can say previously they were continuously following or continuously backing the Palestine cause, but recently the relationship between the Western countries and the some big powers in the Middle East have been increased. The relationship between them, they gained momentum. That's why they changed their stance. Now the Saudi Arabia and other countries are starting becoming. Previously they were blatantly calling for the Palestine, but blatantly endorsing the creation of the Palestine. But nowadays they have changed their stance. They are becoming neutral and trying to follow the dehyphenation theory, all these things. Okay. So now what could be the India's role in the Middle East crisis? So as the tension continues to escalate in the Middle East, diplomatic efforts have gained momentum. The US President Joe Biden decision to visit Israel to assess Israeli plans is a significant development. So in the November, we are talking about November, okay. So the Joe Biden visited Israel, okay, to assess the Israeli plan. What are the Israeli plans to assess all these things? So they visited. So now tension is continued. So diplomatic efforts are gaining momentum. Okay. Because wars are always inflationary. So the wrath of war has been faced by all the countries. It is not only about that. We know that the region in which the war is taking place, the battlefield, those countries will definitely face more of disaster. But in the global world, all the economies are interconnected. So the supply chain disruption and the other, ripple effect of this war will be faced by the every country. Okay. So that's why the diplomatic interventions are very important. The world finds itself sharply divided on the issue. We know that from the very beginning, the world is divided on this issue. So many Islamic countries were supporting the creation of Palestine, and Israel should go. The two-nation solution, which was provided by the United Nations General Assembly, was not accepted by so many countries. The Western countries are more or less supporting the Israel cause. Okay, sir. So the world was, world was divided on the issue, with the emerging geopolitical fault lines becoming increasingly solidified. Okay, geopolitical fault lines are there. Okay, Russia, Ukraine is there. The Western countries, and here we know the China-Russia axis is emerging. So there are fault lines, and with these fault lines, we know the world is again going on the bipolarity. We might see the bipolarity again, or the multipolarity. So the hegemons are, declining. The United States is declining. The China is rising. Russia is rising. So the ultimately the decline phase of the USA, although it is not blatantly decline, but yes, somewhere as compared to the China and Russia, there is a decline, the little decline. So there are geopolitical fault lines because there are so many countries which have very good bilateral relation with the Russia and the China. On the other hand, some have good relation with the USA. Some countries like India have good relation with Russia as well as the USA. So the India in this particular phase, have to follow the dehyphenation. Okay, so without disrupting its relationship with one country, it try to maintain the relationship, good relation with the other country. Okay, so that's the dehyphenation. So geopolitical fault lines are there. Okay, sir. So again, we might go on the multipolarity or the bipolarity. So now India's growing stake in the Middle East. Why Middle East is important for India? A remarkable foreign policy achievement, especially last 10 years. Okay, India's relationship with the Middle East has increased. India stands because India is becoming more realpolitik. So in that case, the more realistic foreign policy India is, going up with. So with the Middle East countries, India have a very good relationship for last 10 years. Building strong ties. The Prime Minister continues working on it. The Minister of External Affairs is working on it. Beyond ideology. Beyond ideology means previously, the countries, especially the Middle East countries, more or less they were, talking about or going with just with the religious, aspect, the religious paradigm. But now the things have been shifted. Even on the religious front, we are, not very much sharp, and we are not going up with a very much, very sharp criticism of the things. We are using diplomatic adroitness to deal with these countries. Okay, so we are going beyond the religious heritage and other things, so that the relationship with these countries, the hitherto, untouched, or you can say the hitherto, not very good relation, we are now creating a good relationship, a strong relationship. You can see that recently the G20, in G20 we had the India Middle East Europe corridor also. Okay, that is also passing from the Saudi Arabia and UAE. Okay. So India's balanced approach, the pragmatism and diplomacy. What is a pragmatism? Pragmatism is it's kind of practical thing rather than the ideal, the idealism. We are following the realism. So idealism is what ought to do. Realism is what we are doing. Okay. So realism is kind of realpolitik. India is becoming more realpolitik. Okay, sir. So the pragmatism and diplomacy. Previously, India used the idealism in the diplomacy, but now India is using pragmatism in the diplomacy. We are becoming more pragmatic, more realistic. Solidarity with Israel. You know that historically, India always supported the cause of Palestine. Okay, since the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to the Indira Gandhi, we always, even the Atal Bihari Vajpayee also supported the cause of Palestine. But we have shifted our stance now. Now we are becoming, blatantly in the support of the Israel. And recently, the Hamas did the air strikes in the Israel after this war has been started. So this particular thing, the solidarity with Israel, India showed the solidarity with Israel in the wake of the attack by the Hamas on Israel. So India said the terrorism in any form would not be tolerated and should not be tolerated. Okay, that's why India shown the solidarity with the Israel, and the India's relationship with the Western countries is also, becoming very good recently, with specifically with the United States and the European powers also. And the reason behind this is that the China-Russia axis is rising. China is continuously using the debt trap diplomacy. On the other hand, China have expansionism in the South China Sea and the Indo-Pacific region. So Indo-Pacific region is the new battleground, we can say, for the 21st century. Indo-Pacific region, and all the countries, specifically USA, the European countries, the Australia, these countries are very much concerned about the rising China. So what they want, that we should not allow China to expand in the Indo-Pacific region. That's why the Indo-Pacific region should be free, open, and the prosperous and inclusive. Okay, sir. So these kind of things they anticipate and expect. That's why there is a Quad. Okay, Quad in which India is a member, Japan is a member, USA and Australia. These four are member there. Okay, US, UK is also there, Australia, United States of America, and the United Kingdom. All three are also there, and this is also kind of countering China. Okay, sir. Support for two-state solution. India also supported for the two-state solution. Okay, India said two-state solution, but yeah, India's stance for Israel has been, becoming liberal nowadays. Okay, India's transformational role, recognizing regional shifts. Okay, regional shift, India's engagement with the Middle East is shaping by its keen recognition of the transformative changes taking place in the Arab world. It was among the first to acknowledge and adapt to these shifts. We have seen that in the Middle Eastern countries, there is a shift because their relationship with the Western countries is continuously increasing. Their stance on the Israel is also softened nowadays, and the Palestine cause they are not endorsing very much nowadays. It means they are becoming more and more conscious about their individual interest rather than giving priority to the religious or particular ideological interest. Okay, sir. So these things are continuously, acknowledged by India, and that's why India is continuously making, good relation with these countries. Pragmatic engagement, no longer driven solely by religion. We discussed it. And the critical pair. India is a definitely critical pair because it is an energy related region, definitely. So for India is also win-win. For those countries also that's a win-win. Okay. UAE, continuously India's relationship with the UAE is increasing, and the UAE is I think the third or fourth largest trading partner of India. UAE is in top 5. Okay, sir. After China, USA, and UAE is at 3rd or 4th place, I think. Okay, sir. So that's the thing. Although it is important from the mains point of view, but still you can track something. Okay. Now Montrex Convention. This is important from the prelims point of view, from geography also, and from the IR point of view also. Now, what is the thing? The thing is, the Turkish Ministry of National Defense recently announced, Turkey, you can say Turkey. Turkey recently announced that it will impose restriction on the passage of warship belonging to countries not bordering the Black Sea within the framework of the Montrex Convention. Now, first and the foremost thing which we must understand is the geography of this particular region. Okay, sir. So to understand the geography of this particular region, let's open a picture. Because geography is important, map-based question they ask. What is happening? Unable to open. Let's open it in some different. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, look at this. Okay, so here we have Black Sea. Okay, this is the Black Sea. This whole region is the Black Sea. Here we have Turkey. This is the Turkey, sir. Okay, this is Turkey. Now in the Turkey, let's zoom it. In the Turkey, we have a sea here. We have a sea here. This is Sea of Marmara. Sea of Marmara, this particular sea. This sea, and this is also Turkey also. This Sea of Marmara is within Turkey. Okay, this Sea of Marmara is within the Turkey because Turkey extends till here. Okay, Turkey extends till here. Now here we can see there are two states. Two states. There are two states. Wait. So, yeah, here you can see. This is a relatively better picture. So here we have Sea of Marmara. This Sea of Marmara, this Turkey extend till here. Okay, Turkey extend till here. So the Sea of Marmara, we can say, is surrounded by wholly Turkey. Here is also we have Turkey. This is also Turkey. Now there are two states. This is the Black Sea. Black Sea is ultimately, connecting with the Aegean Sea, and Aegean Sea is ultimately part of the Mediterranean Sea. And here we have Greece. Okay. So here we can see there are two states. Two states. What are the states? States are the parts which connect two larger water bodies. Two larger water bodies. So here we have states. You can see here. Let me zoom it for you. So here we have two states. One is here, other is here. Okay. So this state is known as the Dardanelles. Okay. Dardanelles. Dardanelles is the state here. Okay. And this state is controlled by Turkey only. Okay. This is the state. Dardanelles is controlled by the Turkey only. And here we have one more state that is called Bosporus state. Here you can see, look at the cursor, this place. So this whole sea is considered as Sea of Marmara. This is Sea of Marmara. And this Sea of Marmara have two openings, one at the kind of southern end, one at the northern end. Okay. So northern end, the Black Sea is connecting with the Sea of Marmara with this particular state. This is called the Bosporus Strait. This is called the Bosporus Strait. Okay. Now the Sea of Marmara, the outlet of Sea of Marmara, the southern part, is the state of Dardanelles. Okay. So there are two states, in the Sea of Marmara, that is the Dardanelles state in the southern end, and the northern part is the Bosporus state. These two states you must keep in mind. So Aegean Sea actually. The Aegean Sea is here. Okay. The Aegean Sea and the Black Sea. So Black Sea, Sea of Marmara, and the Aegean Sea. And these are two states, the Dardanelles state and the Bosporus state. These two states are part of the Turkey or the controlled by Turkey. Okay, sir? Okay. Now look at this picture again. Wait. Okay. So here we have Black Sea. Okay. This is the Black Sea. This is the Turkey. This is Sea of Marmara. Here we have at the upper part is the Bosporus state. This is Dardanelles state. These are two states. We have Aegean Sea. We have Black Sea. We have Azov Sea. Azov Sea is the sea between the Ukraine and the Russia. So here we have Ukraine. This is the Ukraine, sir. And this part till here, this part is Russia. Okay. So when we talk about Black Sea, the Black Sea is surrounded by Turkey. Black Sea is surrounded by Turkey. Okay. After Turkey, we have here Bulgaria. We have Bulgaria here. Then we have Romania. Okay. This particular region is the Moldova. This is another country. It's a landlocked country between Ukraine and Romania, the Moldova. Okay. And here we have Ukraine, and then we have Russia. and then we have Georgia. So there are how many countries? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 countries which are surrounded. The Black Sea is surrounded by these 6 countries. Okay, the Azov Sea is here. These kind of seas they will ask. Let me tell you, Azov Sea, the Aegean Sea. Okay, and here we have Mediterranean. Now these 6 countries are surrounding the Black Sea. Okay, and the largest boundary. Which country have largest boundary? I think it is the Turkey only. The Turkey only. Okay, sir. So Turkey have the largest boundary of the Black Sea. Okay. Let's move ahead. Okay. So now what is the thing? You got the geography of this particular region. Now, the Turkish ministry said that it will impose restriction on the passage of warship belongs to the countries not bordering the Black Sea. Now we know that 6 countries which are bordering the Black Sea, and these 2 states, the Sea of Marmara, or the you can say the state of Dardanelles and the state of Bosphorus. These 2 states are controlled by the Turkey. Now, if somebody or any country want to move from Black Sea to the Aegean Sea, then they have to cross these particular channels. Okay, and these channels are under control of the Turkey. Now, what Turkey is saying? Turkey is saying if the warship belongs to the countries not bordering the Black Sea, so it will impose restriction on the warships which does not belong to the countries bordering Black Sea. Means वो जो 6 countries हैं, apart from these 6 countries, it will try to impose the restriction within the framework of the Montreux Convention. This is not Montreux Accord. Okay, this is Montreux Convention. This is different from the Montreux Accord. That is regarding wetland in the environment, Montreux Accord. Okay, so it is an agreement concerning the Dardanelles Strait and the Bosphorus Strait, also known as the Turkish Strait or the Black Sea Strait. So these 2 states are also called as the Turkish Strait or the Black Sea States. You got it, I think. The Turkish Strait are the only maritime passage between the Black Sea and Mediterranean. So ultimately, they are connecting Black Sea with the Mediterranean. Okay, sir. Next is the 1936 Montreux Convention regarding the regime of states. Turkey has control over the Turkish Strait. So according to this 1936 Montreux Convention, these 2 states are controlled by the Turkey, sir. Okay, these 2 states are controlled by the Turkey according to 1936 Montreux Convention. So, in the event of war, the pact gives Turkey the right to regulate the transit of the naval warships and to block the states for warship belonging to the countries involved in the conflict. So, the Turkey have power at the time of war to impose restriction on the warships, naval warship. Okay, it can regulate the naval warship of any country, and if the countries which are involved in the conflict, it can also block the strait for the transportation. Okay, sir. Don't worry, I don't think that very deeply they will ask regarding what are the parts of the Montreux Convention. They might ask the Montreux Convention is related to which of the country or something like that. Okay. Merchant vessel enjoy freedom of passage. So it is more regarding the naval warships. Means it is regarding warships, not regarding the merchant vessels. So merchant navy vessels will not be stopped because cargo movement should be there. Otherwise, the economy will be disrupted. Vessels belong to the Black Sea littoral states or not. Okay, you can read it on your own. So mostly this is regarding that if the countries, if the warships or the warships which are passing from this particular region belongs to the countries which are littoral state of the Black Sea, then the Turkey will follow some other set of rules. And if the warships are passing from this particular region of the countries which are not littoral state of the Black Sea, the Turkey will follow some different kind of rules. So 2 different rules regulations set are there which the Turkey will follow under the Montreux Convention. If the countries belongs to the littoral state, Turkey will follow a liberal regime. If the country does not have are not the littoral state of the Black Sea, then Turkey will follow a relatively strict set of rules. That's the thing. Let me tell you in the very short brief. Aircraft carrier can in no way pass through the Turkish strait. Okay, sir. So irrespective of whether it is regarding war. Okay. So aircraft carrier will not be allowed to pass the Turkish straits. Okay. Either you are littoral or not. and some other things which are not very important from the prelims point of view. Okay, sir? Because this much depth they won't ask. Okay. So this particular geography is important. Must keep in mind Dardanelles Strait and the Bosphorus Strait. These things they might ask. Okay, what is next? Invocation of the Vienna Convention by India and Canada. Now we know that we discussed this in classroom in very detail. What is the reason that there is a diplomatic standoff between India and Canada in recent times? So what is happening that according to India, one of the Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was a Canadian citizen, and in India they were considered as the Khalistani terrorist. So that person was killed in the Canada, and the Prime Minister of the Canada said, held in the Parliament of the Canada, that the India had the hidden hand in the assassination of the Canadian citizen Hardeep Singh Nijjar. So after that sparked the outrage in India, and this ultimately paved the way for the diplomatic standoff between India and Canada, and both the countries suspended their diplomats. India said that diplomatically there were more number of diplomats, the Canadian diplomats living in India as compared to the Indian diplomats living in the Canada. So Indian government summoned some of the Canadian diplomats to leave the country and go to their homeland in a particular time frame. If they won't go in a particular time frame, then the diplomatic immunity which they enjoy under the Vienna Convention will no more be, effective. Okay, so that's the thing. So we are more concerned about the Vienna Convention. What is the Vienna Convention by India and the Vienna is in Austria. So invocation of Vienna Convention by India and Canada. So amid the ongoing standoff between India and Canada, the Canadian government announced it has recalled 41 diplomats posted in India. 41 diplomats posted in India. Canada government announced it recalled 41 diplomats posted in India. Okay, and their family members. Okay. So what is this convention? The Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations is a UN treaty. First of all, it is a United Nations treaty that set some common principles and terms on how countries must treat each other's diplomatic representatives. So it is regarding the diplomatic representatives. It is regarding the diplomatic representation in the country. So we know that countries send their diplomats to the other countries, and they have their consulate or the high commissions or the embassies. Okay, so their diplomats live in the other countries. So it is the set of rules, regulation, or principles and terms on how countries must treat each other's diplomatic representatives. Okay. So in India, we have the United States of America's embassy. Their diplomats are living in India. So how India would treat the American diplomats? How India will treat all the diplomats of other countries which are living in India? So this is like that. So it is not about India. It is about all countries. It was signed in 1961. It put forth the framework for the diplomatic interaction between the independent nations. So it is also about the diplomatic interactions. Aims to ensure the development of friendly relation among the nations. Okay, this is the basic aim, we know it. Maintain proper communication channel. What should be the communication channel and other things. Principle of diplomatic immunity. Now this is very important because this was invoked. So what is diplomatic immunity? We know that privilege of exemption from certain laws and taxes. When the American diplomats lives in India, then those diplomats are not considered as ordinary citizens. They will get some, exemption from some particular laws, and they will not be arrested simply by the police. They have some certain, regulated procedures they have to follow. The law enforcement agency have to follow in order to arrest them and other things. So the privileges, there are some privileges which are, given to those diplomats. So that is called diplomatic immunity. They will not be considered as a general citizen of the country. They will be regarded. They will be, given the special treatment. So these are the some. This is called diplomatic immunity. Even from taxes, they were exempted. Okay. So that diplomats can function without fear, threat, or intimidation. Now, this is very important because if all the rules, regulation, laws of the the host country will be applicable on the diplomats, then it would be very difficult for the diplomats to work without fear or intimidation, because there's a possibility anytime the domestic country, the host country, can use the domestic laws or the domestic rule regulation to impose restriction or the intimidation or the apprehension over the diplomats. So the diplomatic immunity is a very key aspect of the diplomatic relation between the countries. Okay. So the diplomatic immunity flows from two conventions. There are two conventions. The first is the Vienna Convention, which we are discussing right now. Second is the Convention on the Consular Relations, 1963. These two, keep in mind, these two conventions are important. The diplomatic immunity flows from these two conventions. So today, 193 countries have ratified the convention, meaning they agree it should be legally binding on them. Now, this is very important. You know that if we are becoming a signatory of the convention, means we have shown interest. We have shown interest. If we are signing a convention, India is a signatory to the convention. It means India is showing interest. Okay. Now, the ratification means India has signed it. Now, within India, in the lawmaking body or in the legislature, they are discussing it and they are ultimately passing it. That is called the ratification. So once you ratify, it means the country should seek approval for the treaty on the domestic level and enact a law in their country. So if India is ratifying the particular convention, it means India is making a law to regulate in the domestic sphere. So India has ratified it. 193 countries have ratified it. India also ratified it through the Diplomatic Relations Vienna Convention Act of 1972. This is important. Must keep this in mind. India is a signatory, as well as India also ratified the 1961 Vienna Convention. Almost 193 countries have ratified it. It means they made their law in the domestic domain. And the law in India's domestic domain is the Diplomatic Relation Vienna Convention Act of 1972. Must keep this in mind. I think this is highly desirable question. Okay. And this more thing, Convention on Consular Relation 1963, these two. Okay. 1961 Vienna Convention is recalling diplomats. Now, this is very simple thing. Means we haven't discussed all the provisions of this convention. We are discussing some of the provisions which might be asked, because the whole convention is very lengthy and not desirable to study in very depth. So Article 11 of convention say, now the host country can ask under the Vienna Convention, keep this in mind. Host country can ask the diplomats of other countries to leave their country, to leave. Okay. India can ask the Canadian diplomats to leave. Okay. Now, they give a particular time period to that country, that within 30 days or 40 days you have to leave. Now, if they will not leave after that particular period, so what happened after that? The diplomatic immunity of those diplomats can be curbed. Okay. So if diplomatic immunity will be, will no more in the practice, they will not be entitled for the diplomatic immunity after that particular time. They might be arrested or some other legal action can be taken against them. So it is better for them to leave the country within a stipulated time period, which is given by the host country. Okay. So these are the things which are the part of this. So the revocation or the recalling diplomats provision is there. So whatever decision India took was under or according to the convention only, sir. Okay. So this is the thing regarding India, invocation of India and Canada. Let's read one more. This is the government scheme section, but we have a little time, so we can read it. So the National Means Cum Merit Scholarship Scheme, NMMSS, this is the scheme. What is the scheme? Might be asked. So it is a scheme it is a merit scholarship scheme, means definitely there's a possibility it is related with the Ministry of Education, and it is related with the Ministry of Education. So the Ministry of Education recently started online registration for the NMMSS, okay, for the year 2022. So the online registration has been started. Now, what is the scheme? It is centrally sponsored scheme. Centrally sponsored means it is sponsored by central government. It is not central sector scheme. Central sector scheme means the whole burden or the expenditure will be borne by the central government. Centrally sponsored means the sum, the expenditure will be divided between the center and state government according to the set formula. It can be 60-40, 50-50, 80-20. Okay. So it is a centrally sponsored scheme launched in 2008. So it was started in 2008. Now, what is the scheme? It awards scholarship to meritorious student of economically weaker section. So economically weaker section. Okay, sir. Economically weaker section. To arrest their dropout at class 8 and encourage them to continue to study at secondary stage. Now, this is important. This is the main thing of this particular scheme. So there are so many students who are, drop out after the class 8, who are meritorious students. So what they do, this government is saying that we will provide them, the meritorious student who was dropping out after 8, we need to reduce this dropout rate. So what we will do, we will provide them with some scholarship so that they can continue till the secondary stage education. Okay, so it is only for the 9th, 10th class. Means those who are appearing, those who are in the class 8, after that they are trying to drop out. This dropout rate should be curtailed, so they will be provided with some amount of money in terms of scholarship. Okay, so they can study for the secondary stage. 1 lakh fresh scholarship every year. This is very important. 1 lakh fresh scholarship every year. Now there are so many people in India who are not aware about this particular scheme. Okay, so even within your periphery or your surrounding, if you find somebody who is facing economically weaker section, belongs to economically weaker section, and who is eligible under this scheme, should apply for this scholarship. To gain the benefit under it, you have to appear for a particular exam which is taken by the state government. Okay, and the scholarship is 12,000 rupees per annum, means 1,000 rupees per month. So this is a considerable amount for a poor person. It's 1,000 rupees per month they are getting to continue their education, if you are clearing this particular exam which will be taken by the state government. So distributed directly to the bank accounts. Okay, sir. Public finance management system, we know PMFS system is there, direct benefit transfer mode. PMFS system is for the effective implementation of the all the DBT mode and the direct benefit transfers. Okay. Now, what is the eligibility criteria? The personal or the parental income should not be more than 3,50,000. Okay, this is the criteria. One of the must minimum 55 marks or equivalent grade in the class 7th. Okay. For appearing selection test for award for scholarship. Okay, 7th class may 55%, and there is a relaxation of 5% for SC/ST students. Regular student should be regular. Those who are studying in Navodaya Vidyalaya, Kendriya Vidyalaya are not eligible. Even also those who are studying in the residential school not eligible. Reservation as per the state government norms. Selection test, each state will conduct it and boarded on the national scholarship portal. Okay, sir. So that's the thing. So this scheme is important. Test will be taken. Eligibility is there and other things. Okay, sir. So, okay. So Montreux Convention is important. You must keep this in mind. And this much is enough for today. Tomorrow we will meet again. And we will study about other things. Okay, sir? If you have any query, you can ask me. Hello?
Yes, sir. सर हिंदी में PDF अवेलेबल है क्या?
I will convey this message to the management. They will.
Okay, sir.
Look into it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Anything else? Okay. Keep studying.